This one is special for me, and so it's personal and it's gonna be business. But if I get into personal, just throw something at me. If I, give out something I shouldn't give
You all
here.
good. You all good.
I'm good money. All right. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
So usually, first question goes to who? Mello, not this, not here, right? Like we also understand who runs business. My wife runs my business and is the business. And so we're going to start with Asani first, and just tell us a little bit about Seventh Estate and your background, which I think is super important as you talk us about Seventh Estate.
Well, thank you guys for being here. We're super excited. First of all, to represent Vin the Seventh Estate, and then our very first festival, the Seventh Estate Wine and Spirits Festival. Awesome. So I started, my background actually is in retail. So I was in organizational development and supplier diversity before my life started with this guy, Carmelo Anthony, in 2009. So we've been working together for 15 and a half years. I've been managing and building his off-the-court brand for that amount of time. And then, as we have continued and as we continue to evolve, thought, hey, what about creating a wine company? That's not exactly how it went. It actually was, hey, I want to go to France and I want to make some wine. And I'm like, that's great. Let's figure out if we can make a business out of this. And so we did. We partnered up and then we started our wine company. 2017 Chateau Neuf de Pop was something that we released in November of 22. And we just released a special project with Robert Mondavi. And there is Elon Musk as he is making his way. Hello, Elon.
Yo, Elon, what's up, baby? What's going on?
We got it all. That's how it happened. And then we also had an Elon Musk guest appearance. We love it.
Now, so if you want to know, that was all orchestrated. We figured that out. We just needed to get your attention here a little bit because we know who the real superstar in the room is, my man Mello. And so, when did you get into wine, right? Like, so I know how much you spend on your craft, and there has to be a passion, right? Like, the one thing about Mello, you should know that you don't want to play ball, you don't want to play checkers, you don't want to play cards. He's super competitive about everything. And so when you decided to jump into wine, I know what the goal is, but what really was that kindling, that spirit that got you into kind of like wine love?
I felt like I was spending too much money on wine and trying to, like I was looking at my bills and shit. It's like, damn.
I was looking at the bills.
So I was spending a lot of bread on wines, and it became a crazy passion. Mm-hmm. But I also wanted to figure out, how can I enter this industry and make an impact in a crowded industry, right? What's my niche in this industry? How can I figure this out? And then once you realize, this industry is so big and there's so many people and it's hard to step into and tap into that industry. So how can I really get in there and make the impact that I want, but where it makes sense and then it's authentic to who I am and who we is as a brand. So it made it easier when I stopped spending money on consuming the wine and putting the money into actually building the business of it.
Nah, I like that as a business model. Do something you're passionate about. The other thing that you're really passionate about, I know, is traveling, right? And I think, what wine allows you to do is similar to food. It creates great conversation around great people, but there's nothing better than great wine, great conversation with great people in other places. Can you talk to me about how travel has kind of influenced in some of the traveling? This is where you can step on my foot. Traveling has inspired and has really taken a completely new level for you at this particular point?
Yeah, so traveling and hospitality has always been big on my plate. Like when I travel, I want to experience what it's like to be in that specific place or eat at a specific restaurant or drink a specific wine. So if I'm spending the money, then I want the best experience out of that. So I realized I started thinking about what other people was thinking when I travel. Mm-hmm. What do they like? I started observing and what do they like, what they don't like, what they drinking, what they not, what's the vibes, what's the conversations, what's the energy. So what I did was I just took that information back off of what I observed and implemented that into the actual business. Mm-hmm. So I knew France is, that's the place that's the birthplace, that's the home, that's the motherland of the wine. So why not go back to the motherland and really tap into that? I don't want to go new world yet, right? So I went old world wine. I went back to France because I really wanted to be taken serious in the wine game. I didn't just go to Burgundy or Bordeaux. We went to Chateauneuf de Pop. if you know Chattanooga Pop, that means you really know CD. You really know CDP. So I wanted to go back and identify a region that was rich in history, rich in tradition, and also wanted to bridge the gap between that old world and this new world with this new vision.
All right, watch what I do.
Let me just add this with the travel element. I think the other piece that happened is because of all of the travel, we recognized that we wanted to build a business that wasn't specifically focused on one region all the time. So when we created Vin the Seventh Estate, we wanted to create a wine company that could make wine all over the world. So we started in France. We have our project in California, in Napa. But our goal is to make wine everywhere. So we'll make wine in South Africa, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Spain, in Italy, in Argentina, Portugal. So our goal is in 5 to 7 years, when you look at the Vin the Seventh Estate portfolio of wines, you will see that there is something from everywhere. That's the goal.
Are y'all seeing how clinical this is? This is like PhD level like knowledge getting kicked right here. Now watch this transition. Watch this transition. So as you're traveling, right, and you really think about the business and you think about the art of traveling, the things you see, the things that inspire you when you travel, and you think about business and partnerships. You guys have a great partnership with Delta. We got an opportunity to do something with you at South by. You're going to do other things. Can we talk about that partnership, and can we also talk about the things that you're dropping with that? Bing bong.
Let's go, Delta.
Bing bong.
It's, again, and I think this is the reason why there's a lot of brands and companies here at Sports Beach or just in Cairns in general, because it's trying to figure out ways. We trying to figure out ways how to change the B2B business and the B2C business, right? How do we change that? How do we, create this new experience for these companies and bring everybody in and have this type of experience and not just take it here, but take this all over the world, right? How do we create these experiences using our impact and using our resources, using what we're bringing to the table? How do we connect with brands? How do we get brands to understand what we're actually doing, and the fact that we're actually putting the work in, and the fact that we are authentic in what we're doing? Like this is nothing just overnight, success. Like we've been putting in work for 15 years in the wine industry, where people would tell us like that's the wrong industry to get into. Why would you get into that industry? It's too crowded. You're not going to do nothing. It's not a money maker. But when you really look at it, in 2028, the wine industry will be a $500 billion industry.
Bing.
And it's just the wine
Bing bong.
industry. Bing bong. Like that's the wine industry would be $500 billion in 3-4 years. So if I know that, why not get involved in that industry? Because I can figure it out in a $500 billion industry. I just want a piece. I just want a 1%, a 0.5% of the industry, right? So what we try to do is we try to be authentic. We try to give you we try to give you great product. We try to give you a great brand, and we try to give you great content. And when we actually able to tell the whole story, then that's where things will start to turn around for us.
100%. All right, so this is a question that we have to ask, but I'm going to ask it in a very smart way, because we live in a world where the buzzy DE&I, right? And you think about the lack of diversity properly in wines and spirits, and you think about all that. Put that on the shelf, right? I really believe in like diversity of thought, diversity in beliefs, and the way in which we see things. But you can't really look at this industry about the thing that we put on the shelf, right? We brown, you're an athlete, and not seeing a lot of you reflected in the industry that you're working with. Can we talk through some of those challenges as you create a brand that's not only for us, but it's for everyone? And I think like that's a challenge that I've had with an agency, we have in culture, regardless if it's a product, idea, whatever we're shipping. And so like the reality is I want to kind of like hear how you tackle that, and then we're going to get off of that.
Yeah, it's very difficult coming in as an athlete, because for some reason it's just shut up and dribble, or just do what you do, or be on the field and play football, play basketball, play baseball, do what you do. We don't respect you for nothing else. So again, what we're seeing now is what we're actually been planting these seeds 10, 15 years ago, and we actually just starting to see the benefits from that, because it was an industry that we couldn't get in. We couldn't get into this industry. We couldn't get into this industry. Like this industry was locked. It was gatekeepers. So we had to really be creative on how we wanted to come into this industry. So as an athlete, always being told to just play basketball. You shouldn't be doing nothing else. What I'm doing is I'm kicking the door down saying, look, we can do it. It's more than just me that's out there. Like, I'm one person. So if I can kick this door down the way that we should kick this door down, then I could bring other athletes along. I can help other athletes with their businesses. I can help other athletes understand certain and different industries where we can make an impact. And again, we don't do it by ourselves. Like, we want to bring everybody in to kind of help everybody out. So I think that's the piece that helps us get over the top. The fact that we're able to include everybody. We're able to include our people. We're able to throw these events and these experiences where everybody feels a part of what we're actually doing. So if you feel a part and believe in what you're a part of, you're going to help that company be successful, right? You're going to help it move forward. So that's the message that I'm trying to give out to these big brands and these companies. Like, give us a chance. Like, let us come in and be creative. Let us come in and utilize us for what we do and what we bring. You bring what you bring. Let's sit down and let's ideate and let's make magic. And that's our strategy.
So Melo has all amazing points. There's a couple of things that I want to add. The first thing that you mentioned was community. And I look out in this audience, and there are so many people in this room or in this space that support us. You guys show up for us. You don't have to be here. You could be in a lot of different places listening to a lot of people, but you're here with us. And that means a great deal. It is literally the way that we build our business. If we don't have you, we have nothing. And so I just want to say thank you for choosing us today in this moment. The other thing is that Melo and I feel a great deal of responsibility in the position that we're in. Because like he said, as we are kicking walls down, we're also having to build houses at the same time. And that is exhausting. It's exhausting. And we do it anyway. We specialize in hard things because this is what we do. It's because we have a drive, because we have a passion, because we have a curiosity that we want to build something that's meaningful to us. And we want to create legacy. And so being a wine company that looks like we look is tough. We have the added issue of him being an athlete and me being a Black woman. And my message to brands is just because we are underrepresented doesn't mean that we are not providing quality product and service. So please, take a look. Be willing to look at companies that you haven't considered before, because we're here. We provide not only quality product and experience, but we also can provide you something else, and that is a community and a culture that will really connect and be loyal and stick with you. So,
I just went rogue. I'm going rogue. So, some things you're born with. Style, right? Right? Like, you can't teach it. You see it. You try to replicate it. It looks corny when you try to replicate it. You kind of have to own your own. And, like, you guys are fly, right? And when you really think about, the liquids that you're creating, they all have their own personality of style, right? And when you have that, you're also allowed, and you've earned the ability to go do other things that might be line extensions from what you're currently working on. When I see Melo walking around, he got like the neck and holding the bottom of the glass. I literally for like months was like, why is Melo holding the bottom of this glass? That thing looks like an outfit liability. Like if you spill some red on it, it's gonna be a problem, right? But he's holding the glass at his bottom, and you look at it, and it's like, it's learned, it's information, it's style, right? And so as you're building Festival, right, what are the next things that you're really looking at? Because I think like the style points, I'm looking at your open face work watch right here. I'm trying to tuck my thing right now. Like what's the next thing that you can do because you're so stylish?
Well,
I went rogue. I told you.
No, you did go rogue. I wasn't ready for this.
I know, yo, because you don't like nobody talk about your fly. But
yeah,
like,
but you know what it is? I think that it validates the authenticity of who I am, right? I don't try to go be somebody. I don't go try to be like somebody. I try to go opposite of everybody, right? When people zig, I zag, right? And that's just what I do. As far as the impact that we have in being who we are and being a Black-owned wine brand and being able to come to the table and be fly and be sociable and be relatable and be able to have conversations with everybody, for me, that's more important than anything, because you meeting me where I'm at, right? Not as an athlete. You meeting me as a business person, as a business owner, right? Somebody who run companies, somebody who has multiple companies. So it all goes hand in hand. You know, how you look is how you feel, right? At the end of the day. So if we come in here not looking good, then we're not gonna feel good. We're not gonna be able to get some of these deals done because we're gonna be in and out. We're not gonna be comfortable. So what we try to do, I hope I can speak for Asani. What we try to do is we try to be comfortable as possible, and we try to make everybody else be comfortable as possible. When you talking to us, you talking to us. You're not talking to no corporation. You talking to the two owners and co-founders of every business, whether it's wine, content, whether it's lifestyle, whatever it is. You're talking to the two faces of those brands, right? So you're gonna get it directly from either myself or from Asani.
All right, let's see what I'm gonna go here. I don't know. Let's freestyle this one. All right, so I sold my agency, our agency, to Stagwell, top of the year.
Shout out to
Shout out to Stagwell.
Yes.
Bing bong, right?
Bing bong.
I don't know if Jay or Mark have ever been bing bonged. Like, I need to get a bing bong back from Mark. That's what I need. But the one major reason why we did it is that we created what we did on a beautiful island of our own, right? And at a particular point in time, we weren't learning as much as we should, right? I think the people that were working for senior staff were learning from us, but we weren't really learning from anything. What we were learning from were like falling, scraped knees. What we were learning was that this worked, but there's a way in which the industry worked, tips of the trade, and things that we weren't there because we didn't have really the mentorship. Like after my dad passed away, I didn't have someone that I trusted their advice. And so I went into my hole. And what could we have been if I would have had a mentor or things like that, right? And so the question for you is to set it up is where do you go, right? Like what are your sources? What's your North Star? What's your compass? What's your litmus test when you're really looking for good advice, sound advice? Like the person to give you style advice is not going to give you P&L talk, right? Like, so where are you going and individually, right? Where are you really looking for that level of inspiration? And I'm going to try to cherry pick on that, but go ahead.
Who's first?
You, yeah, because Mello, I saw it turning. He's thinking, let's not.
No, I was letting her rock.
All right, let her rock. All right, go ahead, because you know
right.
she got it.
I'll
All
let her
right. I like
So let me first say, I'll say this. So happy Juneteenth for all of us. So the first place that I pull from is my DNA and my ancestors, truly. When the days are really hard, I always have to remind myself that I am the great-grandmother of Rosie Colvin. I am the granddaughter of Mabel Foster and Mildred Swann. I am the daughter of Brian and Brenda Swann. That's the first place I go because I always recognize if they were able to come through, the sacrifices and the prayers that I stand on push me into what I have to do next. That is the God-honest truth. In the business space, I recognize that I need people in several different areas. It's not just one. I need mentors and guidance in my health journey and my wellness journey. So I have mentors in that space. I have a therapist who holds my hand and reminds me to take a break and to create boundaries that I can hold up. I have, on the wine side, we've got both Mello and I work with Dylan Proctor and Alicia Towns-Franken, who have been so gentle in their guidance, but such, they've been so gentle in the information that they've given us, but they've also given us a great deal of confidence. And then we've got people who, like in the audience, Doné is speaking, but I'm going to shout him out, Lafette. Someone who's willing to share. It's really important that we recognize that just because we're all working in the same space doesn't mean we're all competing against one another. There's space for all of us, and Doné is one of those individuals who says, hey, let me connect you with, you need to talk to this person. This is where you need to be thinking when you want to get to 20,000 cases, 30,000 cases. These are the individuals who will help you get there. That's important. And so Mello and I have to be humble enough and nimble enough to receive that feedback and apply it to our business in real time.
All right, you up?
I can't
Can you
top
add to that?
I don't know what to say to that shit. For me, it's more. I can't pinpoint one person. Like it's just me looking, listening, and observing at the end of the day, right? I look at everybody, see what they doing. I see which way, what not to do and what works, right? And for me, I think I've done a great job of understanding my lane and not trying to go into other people's lanes and do shit that other people are doing. I'm going to do things that I love to do, and I'm not going to do something that I don't love to do. And with that, there's a knowledge that you have to have, right? There's a wisdom that you have to have in order to understand this whole industry, right? So I had to be a student, right, which is become knowledgeable. So when you become a student and you become knowledgeable, you be wise. You become wise, and you have the wisdom. So with that wisdom, there's a greater understanding that we have. And for me, those are the people that I look at and I talk to, and that's having the knowledge of the wisdom and the understanding. Because without that, we don't understand nothing, right? Without the 1, 2, and 3, we don't understand nothing. So there's not one person that I actually look at or listen to. I look at everybody. I listen to everybody. I talk to everybody, but I also sit back and observe what people is doing. And if it's something that you're doing right and correct, right and exact, then I applaud you, and I'll look at that and say, damn, how did he do that? How did she do that? Or how can I do it in my own way, right? So I'm not taking what you're doing. I'm actually learning from you. I'm actually learning from the experience of what you're actually doing. You did it first. I have to learn from what you're doing. So I can't pinpoint one person. It's just a mindset that I have in acquiring information and applying it to my everyday life.
Going rogue again, and you were not going to get off the stage with what question that touched this, right? This is from Ellie. Your nose coming. Is this what you like to do? You like to go over questions and then throw people off? This is how you know you're going to do it live and it's real. So me and Melo really connected on being dads, right? I'm in the gym. I see his little man. I think he's almost tall as you now. Almost. He still thinks he can take you.
Definitely.
He does think so. And this also ties back to style and the way in which you parent, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch you guys' relationships. You see all the videos, you cheering him on, literally like I'm like, I usually get kicked out of the game when I do what you be doing, yelling and carrying on and stuff.
I got kicked out a couple times.
Yo, Lise, he said he got kicked out of the game, so leave me alone.
I got kicked out a couple times.
All right, just had to tell the wife because that's happened before. But the question for me is around legacy, right? And the type of things that you do. Like, when the young ones are watching you, you move differently, right? And in terms of your business endeavors and the way in which the brand that you create, can you really just talk about the relationship you have with your son and the responsibility you have to lead him in the right way, even when it doesn't have to be follow me one-to-one, because we do say, do as I say, not as I do a lot, but you do the right things, and so he can do what you do because I think you're driven towards legacy. So if you could talk to me a little bit about legacy, that would be super dope.
Like everybody's legacy is different. Like, my legacy is how I am with my kids, right? How I am with my son, how I am with my daughter. I got a 17 and a 6-year-old. It's like, that's a wide gap, right? So what I do with my 17-year-old, I can't do with my 6-year-old. Like, it's just impossible. But what I can do with my son is the fact that I've been through it. You wanted to go in the same industry that I was very successful in, that I put pain and I spilled blood and tears into this industry. So if you feel like you need to go to somebody else to get this information, me and you got a problem. Because I done put in a lot of work in this industry. I done spent 2 decades of perfecting my craft. So one thing about my son that makes me happy is the fact that he allows me to give him that information. Like, it's a lot of conversations that, because of the just the dynamics of the sports world and what's happening and NIL and trade portals and money and at an early age, is like I have to have certain conversations with him at 16, 17 years old that I didn't get them conversations until I was 30, right? So how can we expect a 17-year-old to understand and comprehend shit that I didn't learn until I was 30 years old, right? So I think it's an understanding of that. So for me, I allow him to just be a 17-year-old kid, right? Take it one day at a time. Take it year to year. Let's grow, let's develop. And when that time comes, we'll sit there and say, okay, this is what we got to do, this is what we got to do. We know the ultimate goal, right? The ultimate goal is to get to the NBA. With me, that wasn't my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal was to get out the hood, right? So it's 2 different ultimate goals. With him, I can help you. Here's the blueprint. All you have to do is follow the blueprint and figure out what is your energy and your niche with that blueprint. It's not going to be the same. You may not have the same success, but the actual ground and the blueprint of what was created, you have that. So now let's build on that. Let's work on that. Let's work on who you are. Let's work on what's your personality. Let's work on you, because you're not going to do what I did. Or you're not gonna do this. You're not gonna do it the same way. 2 different generations, 2 different times. I didn't get money in college. You get what?
Let's not talk about that.
I'm just saying,
You should have.
I should have.
You should have.
But I did try to go back and retro to, the NIL, but they said it was too much for me to get reparations.
Juneteenth, we can say it. Give me my money, man.
Yeah, it was reparations for Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't give me that, but at the end of the day, man, it's really about him. I do all of this because of him. By the time he, hopefully get to where he's getting at, all of this is established. I'm over here in Cairns. We talking about wine. We talking about the Vin 7th Estate First International Wine Festival as 2 black owners, right? This is what we're building. We're not in New York doing this. We're not in Baltimore. We in Cairns doing this. So I just want to, it's the experience that I have that I'm able to take back and give to my son. And then when it's his time, you're going to know what Kansas is about. He'll be with you. He'll be with you in Kansas.
He'll be with me.
I'll be here with him, too. I ain't going to lie.
You can intern. He got paid. I already know. This next generation NIL kids. All right. Wait, how much time we got, Mello? Can you tell time on that? Can you tell me what time we got?
Yeah, we got 1 minute and 33 seconds.
He can't tell time on that thing.
No.
I just did that on purpose.
This watch is right.
All right. I can't. That thing got a lot of movement. All right. So last question. We started with you. Let's end with you. I kind of went rogue again. But when you think about corporation and company, right? Susan, who runs growth for us today, pulled me aside. Was like, today's my 12th year, 12th year, Suze, and then my wife has been with me forever, and then my best friend Jared's been with me probably at Team Epiphany for 19 and a half years, right? And when you have a stable core, you win chips. When you have a stable core, you build businesses, and we get into good arguments, right? Because we're fighting for the same thing, but we look at it different ways. And I know that you guys have that, and so can you kind of just give an understanding of just the type of relationship that you have, obviously personally, but business, and because of it, the things that you're able to push, do, tackle, because this union isn't like a business, like, property. This is more of a personal relationship that is business, and therefore, when business is personal, we take it personal, and the business works. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I mean, Mello and I, 15 and a half years, we were actually talking about this at dinner last night. I've known him, longer, almost your entire NBA career. But, him starting, I met Mello at 24 years old. He just turned 40. So think about the amount.
What we doing?
It was in People magazine, so I felt like I could say it.
AARP, holla.
I did not say my age, however, which I will not. But I will say that every relationship goes through its growing pains. And I think what Mello and I were blessed with, we met each other at the right time in both of our lives where we were committed to doing something different. We did not know what that something was, but we were committed to doing life different, to doing our businesses different, and to just being different. We were in that evolution state. And so the first thing was all about timing. Mello and I met at the right time in each other's lives. And then the second piece was both of us have a core value of loyalty and consistency. And because of that, we have been able to grow through really tough times. Whether those were times that were personal and tough or whether they were tough business moments, we were able to live through those. I mean, I probably argued the least amount with this person. I think we've had like 2 really knockouts, like take my earrings off. And I really thought I was going to do something. But when I came up to him, I only came up to his navel, which was weird. And I realized you just need to chill out and give yourself a moment, collect yourself, and come back to the table. He just walked past me. He didn't do anything. But being able to see on the other side of that, being able to see someone at their lowest point, their highest point, and their most angry, I will tell you now as a newly married person, those are really important elements to understand if you are going to build a business relationship, because you've got to understand when it gets tough, is this person going to leave? When this person gets tough, are they going to be disrespectful? When this person gets tough, are they going to try to take you out, throw you under the bus? That's really important. We don't have those issues. We are very clear that our core is very much aligned. And the other thing is we have to trust each other. I've learned over time the way that Mello speaks and the way he thinks. I studied that a long time, not realizing that that's what was happening, but that tool has proved to be very helpful. And I know that he does the same. He knows when my personality or the tone in my voice shifts, what's going on. And I know the same for him. Sometimes he laughs, but I know that he's really irritated. Sometimes he looks at me and he's like, oh, you've had enough. I have. He knows.
They kicking us off, by the way. It's
Oh,
blinking.
well, I'm almost done.
2 minutes
but
over.
ultimately, I will not be rushed on Juneteenth. I will express my freedom. I will just say that the trust is really important, and that he mentioned that he studies a lot of different things. I got to trust when he brings it to me. It was well thought out. These are not things that he just is flying by night. And so we have a really good dynamic of figuring out how to lean on each other's strengths in order to move forward and build the next thing. So that's it.
So we're going to wrap up because Mellow Watch don't work.
Oh, my shit working.
I know.
This thing, this blinking right here in front of me right here.
Please give it up for Asani,
No, thank you guys.
for Mello,
Thank you guys.
and 7th Estate.